Hello, in this Bootstrap 4 video, what we're going to do is cover varying grid sizes, because up to now we've covered the different grid sizes and the different screen types. So we've got extra small, small, medium, large and extra large, and these can essentially be simulated by going on your web page and just resizing the browser. So as you can see, when I resize, it simulates the different screen types, and these are the different sizes that we've actually set for our elements using this col dash screen size dash the number of grid spaces that we want. But at the moment, every single element, which is free, but obviously you can have a lot more, you can have as many as you want really, are the same size. But that doesn't have to be the case. We've just kept it that way for simplicity, but in a proper website or a more complex website, you're going to want varying grid sizes. So this might span X amount of grid spaces, let's say 4 on the extra small size, and then this may span 8 on the extra small size. So a third of the column is covered by this div, and then the other 2/3 are covered by this div, and maybe you want this one on the entire next row. So you can vary it up like that. Actually, that's a pretty good example. I just sort of made that up on the spot. I'm going to use that when we start coding or something along those lines. So actually, I think we're ready to start coding. So what we're going to do, first of all, it's going to deal with the extra large size. We're almost going to have like a newspaper layout, or sort of like a sidebar layout. So for this, I'm going to set this to 4. I'm going to set this to 4. No, actually no. I'm going to set this to 8. I'm going to copy and paste. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to copy and paste this. So there is 3 instances of it. So 3 of each. Save this. Refresh the browser. And as you can see, this spans 4 column spaces, and this spans 8. So 4, 8, 4, 8. But if we were to start resizing it, it would just default back to the original behavior of the large, medium, small and extra small. So let's start varying that up as well. So for the large, I'm liking that at 3. I'm liking that at 3, but I'm going to change the bigger size to a 9. Bigger size to a 9. Change the, that should be a 3. Change this one to a 9, and finally change this one to a 9 as well. So let's save that. Refresh the browser. Obviously we got to resize it. There you go. That's it. 3, 9, 3, 9, 3, 9. You might be thinking, can you create your elements so they don't necessarily match up to 12? And what I mean by that is 4 plus 8 is 12, 4 plus 8 is 12, 4 plus 8 is 12, 3 plus 9 is 12, so forth, so forth. And you can, you don't have to equal 12. There's just a maximum of 12. So for this, I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to set this to, I'm going to leave this at 4. I'm going to set this to 6. So there's actually 2 column spaces remaining. I'm going to set this to 4, this to 6, and this to 6. So each row will have 10 spaces filled. And watch what happens when I refresh the page, because remember we got 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, and we can only have a maximum of 12 grid spaces on a single row. So just pause the video a second and think what's going to happen. What's going to be the output? So I'm going to start resizing it. Extra large, this is large, and then when we get to there we go. There's the medium size. What happens? Though there is actually grid space is on this side here, because you can tell, because there's less of a space here and there's more space here, there isn't enough grid spaces to fill the next element. So if there isn't enough, so you can just do some basic math. 4 plus 6 is 10. 12 minus 10, because 12 is the maximum number of grid spaces. 12 minus 10 is 2. So there are 2 grid spaces remaining on this row. any element that is more than 2 grid spaces will go onto the next row. But wait a moment, if I were to just change this one to 2, watch what happens. Refresh, and there you go. This one is on the same row now, simply because 4 plus 6 is 10. We got 2 column spaces remaining. This spans 2 columns, therefore it will fit on this particular row. And the rest adjust as well, because again, they're just next to each other. I just designed them that way so they look like they were on top of each other, but they are technically all just, you can think of it, next to each other. And if there isn't enough space, it just says go to the next row or the next line, almost like a book. When you have words in there, they obviously have an X amount of characters or an X width that you can span, and any characters beyond that or any words beyond that have to go down. It's a similar principle to a book. You generally don't have a book with just one massive line, because that would be one very wide or long book, however you look at it. I guess it'd be wide. I guess it would be width. It'll be a very weird book. If you know of any books like that, let me know. Be interested to just Google them. Okay, just going off topic a bit. So let's do something similar with the small size, but let's vary up even more, because for now we've actually sort of been using a pattern, so like 39, 39, 39, and I think you've guessed you don't need to use a pattern. You can do whatever you want. So I'm going to literally put random numbers 2. Sorry about that. 4. That was actually weird, because my phone went off from Facebook, but it was on silent. So I'll have to look at that after. That was really weird, because I thought it was on silent and looked and it was. Stuff happens. 2. Put this to 9. I'm going to put this as 1. I'm going to put this at 12 actually. Make this one really big. Refresh. Now let's resize it down to the small size. There we go. It does look weird, and that's obviously why you need to plan this sort of stuff out, because if you don't, it's going to start looking weird like this. So there we go. And as you can see, you might be thinking, what's this gap right here? Why are there no items in it? And that's because that's technically not a row. This entire thing right here is a row, and because the contents of this particular element couldn't be fit on just one line, it split it down, hence made the entire column, the entire row's height higher. So if I were to just inspect element, don't need that. Let's just put this at the bottom. There we go. So if I hover over this, as you can see, it has a height of 48 pixels. This has a height of 24 pixels. So this is double that. So it's just basically doubled it, and it'll make it bigger and bigger depending on the content inside that particular element. But when we go to the column, the element after that, it's this element right here. So that's the reason it's not in between there, because it just had to increase the height of these. Therefore, it sort of just misses it out. And again, like I said, that's where the element of planning comes in when you're designing a website or designing anything, and trial and error. So for the extra small size, I'm not going to do anything, because I think you should understand now how to vary grid sizes, use multiple grid sizes, and I want you to actually try that out on the extra small size, try it out on the other sizes as well. If you have any questions, anything whatsoever, feel free to post them on sonarlearning.co.uk/questions.php. There'll be a link in the description to that, plus there'll be a link in the description to today's source code, so you can check that out as well. Please rate, comment and subscribe, as it does really help keep the content free, plus it also helps us provide more content like this on a regular basis. And as usual, thank you for watching. I think you know what I'm going to say. Have a great day.